What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, simply the Becht. And yes, he was going to get his name in the title this week. Week 0 has happened. We have had real live college football. It felt so good to be getting to the weekend. I had Saturday night off, watched everything start to finish. Ryan, how good is it to get football back again?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was a good, promising slate of games, and the fact that nearly all of them delivered as well. Like I say, there's some standout performances. We learned a lot about a lot of teams, but yeah, it was a good slate. It was a good start to the week, and I like to see a lot of competitive games, like I say, where a lot of to-win and throwing. I don't like to see blowouts, but yeah, I was very happy with all the games I watched.
Yeah, we had everything this weekend. We had the Big 12 taking over in Ireland. We had a big old bar fight out in Las Vegas. We had a heroic story in Hawaii. I mean, there is so much for us to talk about, so that is going to be the focus of today's show. We're going to look at the Week 0 slate and go back over some of those games before turning our attention to Week 1, where all the teams get involved and everything really begins. So yeah, stick around. It's going to be a good show. Hope everyone is well who's joining. I can see Brent DeWitt is in the chat already. He goes, "Go Army, go Blue." For Brent and Lisa, you do have team previews coming up for Georgia and Michigan. They, however, will come out tomorrow. I have been incredibly busy at work this week. I've barely had time to try and set up this show. So I've got the day off tomorrow. I'm going to get them done properly, and I'm going to release them as a separate video. So keep an eye out for it. Your previews for the Michigan Wolverines and the Georgia Bulldogs for the season tomorrow, a day before they start their respective campaigns. So yeah, I've not forgotten about you, Brent and Lisa. Do not worry. They are coming there. But tonight we are going to be focusing on the Week 0 Bowl and Week 1 coming. Brent goes, Iowa State was one of my sleeper teams. Oh, they're not a sleeper in my eyes. They've got one of the best QBs in the nation, and they are legit. And it was a great game we're going to talk about in a moment. Let's just get all the housekeeping stuff out the way first. Roar of the Lions UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We'll fire you across a link for that. Main podcast, we were live 2 days ago. It was the 53-man roster reveal for the Detroit Lions. So me and Ash live reacted to that. If you want to go back and check that out, then please do so. It was quite funny. It was a good stream as well. So yeah, that was live main podcast. We're part of Lions Nation Unite, so help support them. And of course, help support us here at Roar of the Lions UK, YouTube, Twitch, all that good sort of stuff. We really appreciate it. We're monetized on YouTube with Twitch affiliated, so if you want to help us that way, great. But we just love having you all in the building first and foremost, especially when we are talking college ball. And of course, we got the feedback forms as well, so any comments about the shows, just fill that in, let us know. We will take it all on board. As always, if you have any questions about what's gone on, or any comments about what's gone on about Week 0, any questions about college football as the show goes on, let us know, and we will address those as and when we can. And if it's a very long, complicated question, we'll put it to next week's show so we can research it properly. Right, we're not really too much in the way of news gone on this week, so we're going to skip the news because we just want to talk football, because so much great stuff happened this weekend. So we're just going to have a chat about what went on. And of course, for those who might be new to the show who don't know, the title of the show is styled after the team that is going to get talked about first. And of course, the very first game of the college football season didn't take place in America. It came over the Atlantic to our side of the pond, to a very rainy Dublin, where number 22 ranked Iowa State were taking on number 17 ranked Kansas State in a Big 12 battle to start the year, and a top 25 battle to start the year, in a game that was going to be pivotal for both teams, especially when it comes to the Big 12 championship and the playoff race. These Week 0 games, they do matter for some of these teams, and this was, it was Ireland in a nutshell. It was absolutely railing it down. The conditions were wet. It was slippy. This promised to be a very difficult day for offenses, let's put it that way, and it probably affected what they were going to do. But what we got was an absolutely tremendous game. So as I say, we're going to go through, I'll go through the first half, we'll stop there, we'll go through the second half, and then we've got some talking points from this game after. So just to kind of put into perspective how difficult this game was and the conditions, especially in the first half, it did ease off in the second. Iowa State got the ball to start this game. Their first drive took over 3 minutes and only went 14 yards. It was tough sledding. Kansas State edge, Osun Sanmi, he bull rushed James Neal III at left tackle, got an early sack on Rocco Becht to end their drive prematurely. An absolutely massive punt from the Iowa State punter got all the way down to the Kansas State 8, and one of the game's defining plays happened there. Dylan Edwards, star running back for K-State, muffed the punt, dropped it right out of his hands, right in front of him, got tackled, and on that tackle injured his ankle on that play and would not return for the rest of the game. So one play for him, he was done and dusted. But that meant Iowa State got the ball back on the K-State 8-yard line, goal to go situation. Osun Sanmi got his second sack of the game very quickly. This time he speed rushed the right tackle, Tyler Miller, so he was working off both ends. But then they got down to the 2-yard line when Rocco Becht, he tossed a handoff into Abu Sama's face. It bounced off his helmet, and Austin Romaine, the star linebacker from the Kansas State Wildcats, was able to recover. So turnover in the red zone there for Iowa State. The next 3 drives, 2 for Kansas State and 1 for Iowa State, they were all 3 and outs, and they went for a combined 12 yards, which kind of just goes to show you the conditions they were playing in. They were trying to run the ball, everyone was loading up the box, no one was getting anything. In the end, it was a bad Kansas State punt. It set Iowa State up in their opponent's territory, but Rocco Becht got some purchase going. He had passes to Burkle and Eskildsen, got Iowa State to the 23. Then Rocco Becht launches this beautiful spiral lofted pass over the strong safety Wesley Fair right into the arms of Dominic Overby for the touchdowns. Beautiful pass, lovely spiral on this thing. 7-0 to Iowa State to start this one off. But then Kansas State hit right back. They have this direct snap trickery to their wide receiver Jace Brown. That went for 33 yards, got them all the way to the Iowa State 30. 5 of the next 6 plays are runs as they finally start to get some purchase with that. Avery Johnson, the quarterback, he scampers a 10-yard touchdown run to finish off that drive. So from no scoring, they score back-to-back. It's 7-all. Kansas State then seemed to turn the screw in this one. The linebacker Key Moss, he comes up on, the safety Key Moss, he comes up on the delayed blitz, absolutely banjaxes Rocco Becht, forces the fumble, which Kansas State recover at Iowa State's 16-yard line. But then it gets to 3rd and 1 on their own, on the 7-yard line. Iowa State come up with 2 massive stuffed runs to turn over on downs. The second one, the free safety Marcus Neal, an absolutely tremendous one-on-one tackle on Joe Jackson on 4th down. If he missed it, it was a touchdown. Instead, Iowa State somehow managed to turn the ball over on downs and save themselves. Kansas State do get back into Iowa State territory, but then quarterback Drew Surges forces another fumble from Kansas State. So 2 turnovers in a row there. Iowa State punted right away after that turnover on downs before. So 2 consecutive turnovers there from the Iowa State defense. We've not even reached the half here. They then put together a good 12-play, 4-minute drive. Includes a really good 4th down clutch conversion by Becht with his feet. Ends at the Kansas State 32. Leaves Kyle Conradi, the kicker, with a 49-yard field goal attempt. But he misses it. So special teams also struggling. Kansas State are able to get back into the Iowa State 30 before the half ends. But then the Iowa State defense makes another stand. The linebacker Cooper Ebel, he sacks Johnson on a free blitz. causes him to commit intentional grounding, which puts them out of field goal range, and they can't get back before time expires. So it ends 7-7 at the half, and just leaving it there, right, just to talk about the first half, kind of what we expected. Conditions in this one were absolutely atrocious, not to mention it's week 0 of the season when the teams are raw, they're green, they've not really played much. A lot of basic mistakes in this one from offense, sprinkled in with some really good plays from the defense as well, but kind of not surprising given the conditions.
No, and it's weird because you can on one hand the conditions ruined a game that could have been an absolute blockbuster, but then they also made a interesting game of chess because they made it, you had to scrap your game plan, and whoever could handle and build a game plan around protecting the football and not doing the costly turnovers, and then also actually capture some of these large players was going to be the one. 7-7 at the half, but at the half Iowa State, to me, they're dominating. They're winning the field possession battle constantly because the special teams is misfiring. Losing Dylan Edwards, to be fair, was huge. He's taken one snap in the game. And yeah, it was a poor fumble. He did not watch that ball at all through the clouds and the rain. He lost it. And then, whenever you lose a fumble and you dive into a scrum, we've seen it in the NFL, anything can happen. Like I say, we saw it many a time. So you're at the mercy of the gods there. But that was a huge loss to them because they did struggle to do that. And yeah, it was slow because, as you say, Rocco's lost Higgins and Noel, and he's kind of building up some rhythm with some new receivers, some younger receivers, so he's trying to get that going there. But like I say, Hansen and Sama doing some tough sledding. It really was physical, hard and downhill running, and picking up those. I think a lot of the money downs, third and fourth down, were the deciding factor in that first half. And the Cyclones came out better in a lot of them. A lot of the K-State players felt very telegraphed. Like when they were going for it, it was pretty obvious, like they say, it was going to be a QB keeper or like an inside run, and they were just breaking, crashing down. And the line of scrimmage battle really was toing and throwing all game. But I loved it. Like I say, I'm one of those masochists. I love bad weather games because it really is then, it's on the coaches to also define a plan. And then, it's those clutch players where you've got to protect the ball even harder than you would normally. We know who dealt better with the conditions in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. I say just very attritional, very mistake-ridden, given again first game of the season, but it would get better, and it did dry out as the second half came, so teams were able to start airing it out more, but the half started 2 3-and-outs to start the second, although Austin Sonmi, the Kansas State edge, he gets his third sack of the day. This time it's on a tackle end stunt that left him completely free to go and hit Rocco again. The Iowa State's offensive line did struggle a bit. Kansas State then go on a 9-play 50-yard drive. Again, they get down to the Iowa State 30, but Jeremiah Cooper, the now corner, blows up a run for a 5-yard loss, and then Kansas State go uber aggressive. They take on a 4th and 9, but Iowa State's defense step up and turn them over on downs again when they're threatening to get in the red zone. And then Iowa State respond. They put together the best drive of the day, pretty much. It goes 11 plays over 6 minutes, and it ends with Rocco Becht. He pings this lovely 40-yard dart to Brett Eskildsen for a touchdown. He puts it right over the shoulder of Donovan McIntosh. It's perfect placement at the far side of the end zone. 14-7 to Iowa State. And then the game really does break open. It just takes 5 plays and under 2 minutes for Kansas State to go 75 yards and even it up. Iowa State DB Tayshaun Jones, he had this wonderful end zone pass breakup on Jace Brown, but 2 plays later, he does get in the end zone. It's one of 2 completely busted coverages in the game from the Iowa State secondary. And Avery Johnson, the Kansas State quarterback, he has the easiest 30-yard throw of his life to Jace Brown, makes it 14-all. It breaks up in a hurry. Iowa State's next drive, it's led by Carson Hansen. They put it on the ground, gets them all the way to the Kansas State 16. There was a pass there that Donovan McIntosh should have picked off from Rocco Becht. It's one of the worst drops I've ever seen in my life, and it was a terrible throw, and even I will admit that. But they do have to settle for a field goal, but that puts Iowa State 3 up at this point. Then Kansas State, they make the game-changing mistake. On their own 30, they go for a 4th and 1. They're very brave with this. Iowa State stuffed them. There was controversy on the spot, but I did think it was spotted right. But they get turned over right on their own doorstep. Becht throws a 21-yard dart to Benjamin Brahma, sets them up on the 7-yard line. Then Becht himself rushes it in for the touchdown, and that makes it 24-14 and makes it a 2-score game. And that's critical because even though on the next drive it's one play, it takes 15 seconds, Avery Johnson rolls out of his pocket to the left. The outside corner for some reason thinks he's going for the out route, so he jumps up on the receiver who's already got a guy marking him, completely leaves the guy who's running a go up the perimeter on his own. Avery Johnson again throws it about 30 yards. It's Gerard Bradley. He houses this thing from 75 yards out because the safety's also bitten on this. So literally one play later, it's back to 24-21, but Iowa State still have the ball with 6 minutes to go, and they don't give the ball back. The critical call on this drive, it comes on a 4th and 3rd on the Kansas State 16 with 2:18 left. Now, Iowa State could have taken a field goal here and gone 6 up. Instead, they decide to go for it. Rocco Becht, under pressure, retreating in his pocket. He's able to toss it up to Carson Hansen, who's sort of leaked out the back as the running back. He initially looks like he gets in for the touchdown, but he actually goes down at the 1-yard line. But for them, that's probably the better thing because then it means they're able to kneel the game out and Kansas State don't get the ball back. And Iowa State come out 24-21 winners on the first game of the season, and an absolutely massive result for them, Ryan. It was a game, I say, filled of mistakes, turnovers, but it was the one brave call from Kleiman and Kansas State at their own 30 there, which really turned this thing around and ultimately lost them the game, because even though they scored quick after, it's a 2-score game, you don't have the ball in your hands, you've got to try and get it back, and their defense ultimately was not able to.
No. As the game dried up, as you say, they took more and more risks. And yeah, their passing, their arms came out to play a little bit more. This half, yeah, in ways it was sloppy in the first because, like I said, there was so many blown coverages, and a lot of it were the safeties. A lot of the safeties, like I say, were doubling up, tripling up on like receivers with their corners. Like I say, they were just like leaving open field missing, and we saw it leading to 2 scoring players on each side where they were too shallow, they didn't come over top. And yeah, that was really frustrating from a Cyclones point of view because they were pegging them back and getting their ears back, and then within a couple of minutes each time or seconds, they were kind of undoing all the hard work. But I agree that 4th and 1, that changed the whole game. I said, it is a brave call. Like you say, if you're going to go for it, you've really got to get it, bearing in mind where you are on the field and how much clock has been able to bleed. And yeah, they did have... At one point, it looked like they were going to give him it, and like saying, it took quite a long way to get there, but they did determine in the end that they didn't get it. And then, yeah, that like 10-point cushion for me, I could tell straight away that was going to be the deciding factor that happened in the game. And uncharacteristic of Kansas State, but their clock management were terrible. They had no timeouts left for what felt like most of the 4th quarter. They'd used Kleiman, like I say, because of penalties and bad formations and not getting ready. They were burning through their timeouts far too quickly. So as you say, that Hansen not getting into the end zone really did benefit me in the end because you really were just able to milk those final seconds off the clock. And it's always one of those, I'm always a team, use all the clock, don't take the 3 points and give them a chance to have the ball because anything can happen. Like you say, it takes one slip, you kick it back to them and they house a kick. And like I say, then they can go for an onside. You always want to just end it there and then. So I was firmly in that, yeah. But in the second half, we saw a good connection building up, like I say, with Brahma, that giant tight end, had a skilled run. So Rocco was starting to warm up the arm a little bit, finding a little bit more success, dropping back in the pocket. Very good. But on the other side, apart from a few splash players, it felt like Avery was a bit shaky for most of the day. It didn't help that for the second half, he just did not seem to have a run game. They weren't able to leak their running backs out the backfield. You do worry about the depth if it's going to be an issue for Dylan Edwards, who someone's going to be able to step in for the next coming weeks. But in the end, I'd say Iowa State were probably more deserving victories than the scoreline would actually tell you. They handled the conditions better, their clock management was better, their discipline for the most part was better as well, and in the end, all their special teams on the whole part, they in bad conditions still, they did still make a field goal, and Conrad was shaky last season. So I did worry about trotting him out at any point in this game with the wind and the rain, but he did pull one of them in, and in the end, big scalp. And this game it might not seem important now, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, but fast forward in 10 weeks' time, if Kansas State, like say, are on the cusp or they're hanging by a thread in the Big 12 title race, come back to this week and be like, yeah, we didn't prep well enough and we did not handle the conditions well enough in a game that either team could have won.
Absolutely. In terms of the Iowa State talking points, mentioned Becht. Now, I know I'm the one who harps on about him all the time, and it can be overbearing at points, but how he adapted to this. So obviously for him, his passing stats, he was 14 for 28. Yeah, it's only 50%, but you are in the rain. 183 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did fumble a few times, but again, the weather is a pain. But when you look at what he did, like I say, he's lost his big targets. Carson Hansen, 2 catches, 19 yards. Brahma, 2 catches, 41 yards. Eli Green, 2 catches, 17. Eskildson, 2 for 22. Gabe Burkle, 3 for 31. He spread it out. You know, you lose your top targets. You just don't try and circle one guy. And there was no catch, of course, for the big East Carolina transfer. I think he dropped 2. But, you know, spread the ball out well, spread his different targets. It was a very mature performance there, and then a 6-minute drive to ice this thing as well. I think for me, this has hopefully now shown to the world what I mean about him. Not the flashiest quarterback out there, but he's efficient, he gets the job done, he has an arm to cork when he wants to, and, you know, with all that loss on this team and the conditions and everything, I think this is a signature win for him.
Yeah, I'd say as well. He managed to show that when conditions are difficult and when things aren't going his way, he's able to just calm it down. He's able to manipulate a defense because, as you say, 5-6 targets, lots of moving pieces. Try avoid the middle where like guys like where Austin Remain are a threat. Like you don't want to be attacking there. So a lot of it was outside stuff towards the boundaries and the sidelines. He was doing a good job of spreading them out and making the defend those sidelines well. And then on the clutch downs, like say a couple of third and shorts, a crucial 4th and short where it was just tuck it and plough forward, get the yards, or make sure you're able to roll and keep your legs moving to get those extra conversions. He did a great job there of just keeping the drives alive, so he was always managing to just keep there. And it was ultimately going to be a game where, last team with the ball and the team that could do the most damage with the clock was probably going to win, and he was able to do that on the day.
And then the other interesting point to mention from Iowa State, obviously the defense was tremendous when it needed to be. Multiple stops, didn't even let them get. I know they had 2 big busted coverages, but they didn't really let Kansas State get into their red zone, which was impressive. But one defender who really needs to be looked at in terms of draft circles, because you know we like a lot of these Iowa State defenders, Jontez Williams. We know him as a safety and a nickel, and sometimes a linebacker. He's always played in the middle, and he's been tremendous at what he does. They've moved him to outside corner, where he played the entire game in this one. Targeted 3 times, did give up 3 receptions, but just for 6 yards. So they're targeting him on short routes, and he's giving up nothing after. I mean, if this is the plan now to play him there, because they had that Devin Neal Jr. who played at safety who looked awesome. Like, Jontez Williams could be one really now, as you talk about versatile defenders, like his stock potentially going to the moon if this pays off. But he's a player we've liked for a while, and they're putting even more on him now, and he looked very comfy.
Yeah, it's good to see. If you can give a guy like the best part of a whole defensive player book and just say, can you learn this? Are you able to diagnose these player calls? Are you able to bury your head in the books on a weekend? You must be watching tons of film as well. Like say he's a Swiss Army knife, and not everyone's cup of tea, but ultimately if you can play 3-4 positions to a good standard in the NFL, that will definitely get more eyes on you. That will give you more options. That will give more coaches chance to see what they think they could do with you and where your best position is. So if he's able to move from centre field out towards the boundary and show that he's able to smart enough to also know how to pin guys to the sideline, and he's able to then control and not get like guys behind him, I think that'll be do wonders for his stock, and it'll elevate him as a well-rounded match, because it's just a thing these days. Like you've got to play all the positions in secondary if you want a good chance to succeed in the next level. Guys like Eman Wari, like say a pass rusher, a linebacker, a safety can move outside. Brian Branch, Kyle Hamilton. Like I say, you see a lot of these guys now that are very comfortable moving inside, outside, moving forwards, backwards, and it ultimately does do wonders for your draft stock if you're able to do them at standards here. If that's the call, if that's the plan for him, and he's comfortable doing it now, then it'll give him a greater option of, like I say, where he chooses to play at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of Kansas State, obviously disappointing day for them. However, you go on to their defense; they did play very well. And two standouts there, which give them hope for optimism. Obviously, Austin remains looking like one of the best linebackers in football right now, and in terms of he's going to be another high-level draft prospect next year. And then Osun Sammy, Toby, the edge, 3 sacks on the day. One through the left tackle, one through the right tackle, a stunt through the middle, like attacking here, there, everywhere. Iowa State had absolutely no answer for him. Like 2 very impressive performances on the day for him. It means they've got something to work with. That defense is not going to be easy to play against this year with that front 7. They've just come up against one of the better teams in the Big 12, but 2 very good performances there.
Oh yeah, definitely 2 standout guys that were able to stay on the field nearly all the game and just kept being headaches. They're 2 guys where, as you say, they're comfortable everywhere. They'll go from the middle, they'll go around the outside. Like I say, they've got trickery. They're physical in the box. They're able to get into the backfield and cause negative plays. As a whole, the K-State defense, it didn't play bad. Both defenses didn't play bad. There was just a handful of 4 or 5 plays where lack of concentration or communication just kind of blew something wide open. But for the most part, both defenses won on the day. They were very rugged. But yeah, like I say, Austin Zenze had a great day. He was very physical. I think Becht was always kind of wary of where he was. Like I say, sense him in the pocket, try roll away from him if needs be. And Romain is just a bit of a drive killer. He's someone, like I say, just leave him in the deep middle and just let him do what he does best, whether that's in coverage or come and go and making the laying wood. So yeah, 2 guys with a bright future that will definitely be 2 people that the whole team will lean on this year.
Yeah, Romain, 7 tackles on the day, 6 run stops. He went 1 for 0 in coverage with a pass breakup. He can do just about everything. I know Paul absolutely loves him. He is one of the best linebackers in the nation, and he acted as such. So, yeah, a game for the traditionalists in Ireland, given the conditions, but tremendous victory for Iowa State. Well done for them. Kansas State, there is still a lot to play for, but this is going to be big for their campaign. And yeah, for Avery Johnson, not the best week. Not too good on the field, and then his dad and brother were fighting one another in the stands, and they've had to apologise for that publicly, so hopefully they can put that behind them quickly. Right, shout out to Danny Mack and Mile Marker who are in the building. Hope you're well. If you've got any comments, questions as we go along again, just let us know as the show goes on, and we shall answer them for you. Next, I wasn't going to have them here, but I'm going to put them in here now. We're going all the way out to Hawaii, and this was a very emotional game for one of many, many reasons, but maybe the one that put the biggest smile on my face outside of the spectacle and always watching him. Of course, we're talking about the Power 4 Stanford Cardinal of the ACC going out to Hawaii to take on the Mountain West Group of 5 Rainbow Warriors, who we've been tracking ever since Timmy Chang went to that program. And my oh my, what a game this was, and it was worth staying up till stupid o'clock in the morning to watch. Stanford started this game off, had this huge 16-play, nearly 8-minute drive to start this off. They got to a first and goal situation at the Hawaii 8, but the Hawaii defense, to their credit, they held up. They did tremendous, were able to hold them to just a field goal. So Stanford take an early 3-0 lead, and then disaster completely struck for the Rainbow Warriors, which left you thinking, oh God, here we go, it's the same old again. So on the kickoff, so Stanford kicked the ball to them. For some reason, their kick returner, Peter White, he called for a fair catch at his own 1-yard line. And if you do that, the ball gets spotted where you fair catch it. So a huge mistake on special teams there means that the ball is placed on their own 1-yard line. And a play later, new freshman quarterback, Mikel Alejado, he gets strip sacked in the end zone by Stanford defensive tackle Clay Patterson, and the linebacker Wilfredo Ibar is able to land on it for the touchdown, and just in the blink of an eye it goes to 10-0 to Stanford. And then Hawaii follow this up with a 3 and out. Everything seemed to be going wrong, and you were thinking the worst for them. But then it all changed. Hawaii forced the Stanford 3 and out, and then that run and gun offense that Timmy Chang has been trying to implement out there in the islands finally decided to come to life. So Alejado, he had completed passes to Senecal, Ashlock and White, got them to the Stanford 37. Then he blitzed out this great 30-yard rush down the middle when he broke contain to get them inside the 10-yard line before firing in a lovely touchdown pass to Bafeli Ashlock. Touchdown to Hawaii, 10-7 to Stanford at this point. But then Stanford go on this another bruising 13-play, 6-minute drive. It was extended twice by Hawaii penalties. But again, the Hawaii defense held when it needed to. This time it was at their own 17-yard line. And then the special teams comes up clutch. The defensive tackle Luther McCoy, he gets a hand on the field goal attempt, blocks it, and Stanford walk away from that 6-minute drive with absolutely nothing. They're then able to move it back to the other side of the field to the Stanford 36. But then they do get a little brave. They go to a 4th and 3rd situation. They try to pass their way out of it. Landon Sims, the running back, gets absolutely blown up by the linebacker Sam Mattingly, and they turn over on downed by Stanford. A roughing penalty and a really strong series of runs by Stanford running back Micah Ford gets Stanford back into another 1st and 10 situation at the Hawaii 16. But there's a really good pass breakup from the safety Kilanahi Mendiola Jensen. Then a Peter Manuma blitz from the other safety position forces an intentional grounding, pushes Stanford all the way back to the 30. They've got to settle for a field goal at this point. Makes it 13-7 to Stanford, but a 3rd consecutive stand there from the Hawaii defense in their own red zone. But then Stanford completely lose the plot. They commit separate personal foul, face mask, and unsportsmanlike conduct penalties on the next Hawaii drive. The unsportsmanlike conduct came from taunting after a sack, so what should have been a big negative play for Stanford turns into a big a big positive play for Stanford turns into a massive negative play for them. This gets Hawaii all the way to the Stanford 19-yard line. And Mika Aliado, this young redshirt freshman who's not really played before, he uncorks this absolute belter of a throw into the end zone, right over the cornerback Aaron Morris to the former Cardinal Jackson Harris, which makes it 14-13 to Hawaii just before the break, and they go into the half as such, and they come out absolutely full of confidence going into the second half. Disaster strikes almost instantly. So Aliado, the quarterback, he's sacked by the linebacker Matt Rose. He injures Aliado's ankle and he has to leave the game. It looked pretty serious when it was initially done. Hawaii's defense then forces a 50-second 3 and out, but somehow the young redshirt freshman quarterback, he's limping in plain sight. His ankle is taped up to like twice his normal size. Gets back into the game. They managed to put together a really good 11-play drive that takes over 4 minutes. And the kicker, Kansei Matsusawa, I have to remember that one, he hits a 40-yard field goal. Makes it a 17-13 game to Hawaii at this point. Teams trade 3 and outs. But then Stanford put together the biggest drive of the day. It's 20 plays, 85 yards. It's a drive that takes nearly 10 minutes. They absolutely pound the run game down Hawaii's throat. Micah Ford finishes it off from 2 yards out. Stanford retake the lead at 20-17. Then Hawaii go 3 and out. There's just 8 minutes left at this point, and you kind of begin to feel the worst. The quarterback is struggling to move. Stanford have the ball, they're 3 points up, and then a 36-yard completion to the tight end Chico Holt, a 17-yard Micah Ford run, gets Stanford to the Hawaii 24, and you're thinking, yeah, this is it, and they're done. And just as kind of all hope is dwindling for them, one of the best interceptions I think you will ever see. So again, Kilinahi Mendiola Jensen, the safety, he snags this amazing interception out the air to turn the tide. He's coming off a blitz off the edge. Gulbranson, the Stanford quarterback, absolutely pings it at him from about 5 yards away, trying to get over the blitz. Normally it's one of those passes you bat out the air. Not only does he get his hands up to it, he picks this thing clean out the air. It is an incredibly difficult catch to make. But with Stanford threatening to score again, he gets the interception, turns it over. There's 6 minutes left on the clock at this point. And the young quarterback, Aliardo, this is where he goes into law. He gets sacked on the first play of this drive. They are in a massive hole. He's hobbling around all over the place. Then he uncorks this beautiful pass to Bafele Ashlock for 25 yards, right down the numbers between the numbers. He gets them all the way up to the Stanford 20 somehow by all odds. Matt Cesar, the kicker, hits it from 37 yards, I think it is, to tie the game up at 20 apiece. And then the Hawaii defense, it makes another stop. Third down, cornerback Jaheim Wilson-Jones. He absolutely blows up Stanford wide receiver Jordan Onowigi. He gets the ball in his hands. It's a completion. He comes down and hits him like a freight train, knocks the thing out. So what would have been a first down conversion forces the punt. And then Mika Aliardo, who by this point can barely walk, he's got 91 seconds left to win the game. He completes 5 of 6 passes, 3 to Jackson Harris, 2 to Landon Sims. Gets Hawaii all the way down to the Stanford 21, where Matt Cesar, the kicker who learned how to kick by watching YouTube videos, sinks a 38-yard walk-off field goal to register Hawaii's first ever win over Stanford and a Power 4 scalp to start the season. And Ryan, what a roller coaster of emotions in this game. Timmy Chang 4 years ago takes over Hawaii program, which is rotten. All its players have left. The culture's bad. They're just getting beaten week in, week out. And over the course of 4 years, he's instilled this belief into this team, this culture there. There were so many times they could have lost this game. Every time they needed a stop from the defense, they got a stop from the defense. When they needed a turnover, they got a turnover. And their young freshman quarterback, who's barely played any football in his life, with a huge injury, a basic bullseye on his ankle, asking to be hit, somehow plays an entire half and leads 2 clutch drives at the end for their kicker, who learned from YouTube how to kick, to win. How far this program has come in 4 years. It would never have won this game ever in any of the other seasons it's played. The job he's done has been absolutely sensational, and it wasn't pretty, but what a performance from Hawaii.
Yeah, this was a great game. It was, both teams struggled to have momentum. They both gave it away too easily at times. It was a back and forth contest. It was very much one of those where you were just waiting for the next mistake. You were like, the team that's going to win this game is the one that can play the cleanest game. And at times they both shot themselves in the foot. Big mistakes. There were a lot of penalties on both sides. Like I say, it was quite ill-disciplined, and a lot of them, like I say, there was quite a few personal conduct penalties. So one of those you'd like to iron out quickly. But yeah, after about 5 minutes, I thought, as you probably thought as well, oh no, here we go again. Like you say, yeah, the returner. I don't even blame the quarterback for fumbling. I blame the returner for making the bonehead decision. For, if you're gonna, like say, do that, like what Green Bay once did against Detroit, if you're gonna call for a fair catch at the 1, you've got to have like the foot out of bounds. I think he was trying to do that, but it all went wrong. Yeah, and then like you say, yeah, Stanford just sent the house, stripped him. Like I say, 10-0 up. But yeah, really impressive from the young man. I was very impressed with how he composed himself. He was very physical. A lot of the runs, like I say, especially in the first half, like he wasn't sliding. Like I say, he was going like full on, just running through guys, diving head first for every extra yardage you could scrap. He had a good, like say, a rapport building with some of those new receivers, like they say, the ex-Cardinal Harris, who had himself a big day. That must have been very nice for him personally. The run game, like I say, it was going very well. But ultimately, the defense, when they needed it, turnovers. Yeah, bad plays for my part and Gulbranson, like you say, from such a best part of a 4 or 5 year veteran. I feel like he made some naive plays, but ultimately, if you put the ball in harm's way, someone's still got to capitalise, and Hawaii were able to do that on more than one occasion. But yeah, ultimately, it's just a bravery thing. Like the quarterback came out in the second half, and for a good 20 minutes, you could tell he's not happy. Every time, like you say, he's limping, he's rolling out, or like you say, he just can't avoid pressure. And like you say, it's kind of just a sitting duck back there. Like I say, but he did really well to step up into it onto that injured ankle, deliver strikes in the end zone when it was needed. And yeah, a great game. And MVP, like I said, a clutch Japanese kicker that didn't play in high school, taught himself to kick, has managed to find himself here as a walk on and get a scholarship, I believe now. Like that is it's a bit of a fairy tale story for him, really. Like I said, go 3 for 3 on the day and ultimately be the game winner. But yeah, this felt like an extension of really good coaching finally starting to pay off. Like I said, you've got some leaders on the field at key positions and a good crowd as well. The crowd were fully behind them. It was like for once that Hawaii's got a real kind of small fan base brewing. Like I say, in 2027, the new stadium should be built. Like I say, hopefully get the Pro Bowl back there. They'll get more high profile football in Hawaii. The next 5 years is slowly going to start to get where it used to be, and hopefully it's going to be off the back of the college team. But yeah, a good opponent, a great win for them, and plenty to work on, but also plenty of momentum, like I say, positive to take going into the next Mountain West ties when conference play starts.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the atmosphere was tremendous. Like Stanford took a good number of fans as well. Like even when Stanford were doing well, like there was a good back and forth between it all, which made it even better. But I mean, you just look at what they used to be and what they are now. And Brendan said it: the culture that Timmy Chang has built there is that, you know, we're not we're not a pushover anymore. We're not the team who's going to roll over and be beaten. We're the team who is going to bite you. I mean, you look at the stats for this game. Time of possession. So Stanford had 3 drives alone that went 24 minutes, but overall they won the time of possession battle 36 minutes to 24. This is a Power 4 team with 12 minutes more of the football than its Group of 5 rival, and they still lost. Hawaii only having 25 minutes of possession with the football. Like the amount of times the defense stood up again and again and again. Special teams, the field goal block, which ultimately proved to be a winner for them. The big plays from the safe, like the players they've got there. The 2 safeties are absolutely tremendous. You might have the best trio of wide receivers in the division with Senecal, Ashlock, and now Harris, who appears to be a big breakout star there for them. This is just a completely revamped team, and you kind of felt really proud in the end because, like, they've threatened to be this over the last few years, but obviously talent retention has been difficult. Year on year, they seem to have been able to retain more of the talent, and you did really worry this year with the quarterback going, because he's been there forever and thrown for 1 billion yards. Are they going to regress again? But they seem to have found a recruit who is, hell, he's loyal to the cause there. Like, no one will play through an injury like he did. Like, the culture is just tremendous there now, and we put this with a note on the side that this has to mean something now. You can't go and lose out the season from this point. Oh, this loss means nothing, but this does feel like the validation of the last 4 years, and it's been slow, but it's one of the best rebuild jobs we've seen recently, right?
Yeah, as you mentioned, you've got a clutch, you've got a committed troop of players, like guys like Manuma, that I think he's played well enough in recent years that if he'd have entered the portal, would have probably picked himself a nice, smaller Power 4 school. Like I say, he's been productive, but now he's decided to stay here. Like I say, he believes in what they're trying to do. Like I say, he wants to try bring some success to that part of the country. And yeah, like I say, they've added in some spice. Like you say, Harris, I think, is going to be a big red zone threat this year. I think that's a good get from Stanford. It says a lot when Cardinals players are uprooting their lives and going to go to Hawaii and, like I say, take their talents over there. And then you've got a young quarterback that's shown a good arm. He's physical. He can play through pain. So there's a little bit of physical and mental toughness there behind him. So he could have a potentially bright future ahead of him. So yeah, for me now, I need to see them be competitive in Mountain West play. I need to see them build on this. It can't all be for nothing. Yeah, like I say, no win-loss call. I just want them to go out there, give a good account for themselves this year, and then build on it with, like I say, some future building blocks that are currently building. On the flip side, I've never been as more worried for the Cardinals as I've ever been. I would not expect to see a Frank Reich and Andrew Luck at the top side so ill-disciplined. penalties, bad sloppy coverage, like you say, a lot of it on the field, like you say, bad special teams, like they're a mess at Stanford. I don't see in that first game. It was a close game, but I didn't see many standout performances. I didn't see the usual traits I'd see of a gritty physical side that I would expect from Frank. Like I said, I'm not sure how the players will respond to him, in all honesty. And then I also think bringing Branson, I think like he had one great year at Oregon State, but it kind of just feels like he's just there to like see out his playing career. Really, like there's not much ambitious moves. So I don't know where the future of that program lies now. We already know in 12 months' time they're looking for a new head coach, probably all new coordinators. I think this is probably a write-off season already.
See, that felt like the difference between these two teams. The quarterbacks. One side, you've got this young freshman who is desperate to prove himself, who will break the pain barrier and go through anything he has to prove himself to his team and his teammates. On the other side, you've got a journeyman who just feels like he's going through the motions, and that seemed to kind of filter into the team. Like, yeah, they looked fine, the run game was good, but they just didn't feel juiced up like they were playing for each other like Hawaii were. And I think that comes from the signal caller.
Yeah, like I said, Branson has got a lot of experience under his belt, but that's not always a good thing, because a lot of experience, like I say, with the Beavers wasn't great. No. Like you say, one good season, but it just feels like Stanford would have taken anybody, wouldn't they? With good experience, it feels like they would have been desperate for an experienced signal caller, like I say. So, like I say, when Branson, it was his team, but the moment he got a whiff of probably Malik Murphy coming in, he could not leave Oregon State any quicker. Like I say, because he did not want at this point in his career a battle for a QB job. Like I say, at Stanford in now, and I just don't think there's anyone behind him. I just don't feel like Branson's status as the starter will probably be under threat anytime soon, no matter how well or poorly he plays. And that's probably more indicative of how lacking of depth that position will be ultimately will probably define their season.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to look for positives there, Micah Ford did look really good on the ground. He was
your only real outlet that whole game.
Yeah, he had to do a lot of the hard running, but, he looks legit. They used him a little bit as a receiver as well, so, you hope that there for them. But outside that, the defensive line, there's some good players on there, but there's just not a team. There's not an identity there right now, and Hawaii have an identity, and ultimately that's what won them this one. I mean, Hawaii had more offensive yards with less offensive plays, and they even ran the ball pretty well, something they've never done, going at 5.5 yards per carry, having the dual threat quarterback. That seems to have unlocked Hawaii a bit more, because previous incumbent didn't run the ball. So we'll see. But big progress from Hawaii, a massive statement win for them, and I'm praying now that this is where the bowl is minimum this year. Got to go to a bowl. Got to be competitive in the Mountain West, but this is the best time. This team looks legit. So, look for Alejado on there. The safeties, like I mentioned, Peter Manuma, Mendiola Jensen looks tremendous as well. So, keep an eye on those guys. There's NFL talent in that backfield there for the Rainbow Warriors. But well done for them. For Stanford, this could be a long old year. Right. Let us move it on, and we are going to go next to... In fact, actually, I'll flip this one to you, because there was another real big shock this week, but it didn't take place in the FBS ranks. We were talking about the fixtures last week, and we were talking about a highly ranked Incarnate Word team who were going to start off the season with a relatively easy game against the Nichols Colonel. Are they the Colonels, Nichols? I think they are the Colonels, are they not? Or am I getting them wrong? The Nichols Colonels. And, the game didn't go as planned for Incarnate Word.
It didn't, no. And this is an Incarnate Word that last year had, a top 10 offense in the country. And it had, passing yards per game was, top 10. Like it says, Zach Calzada for the last 2 years, like you say, has kind of gone wild for 6,500 yards and 75 touchdowns or something stupid. And they were a real force to be reckoned with. And he's earned his move back up to the FBS. And they did go with the option of a quarterback that knew the system. They went with Richard Torres. A young man has got some snaps on his belt. He did step in like saying he did come in straight away. And yep, it did not go well for him because Nichols pounced on every mistake, every inexperienced little naive wrinkle that he put out there. It was capitalised on, and it was a turnover fest. They turned over the ball every which way they could, unfortunately for Incarnate Word. And Nichols, yeah, they played lights out football on defence. They kept giving their offence fantastic field position wherever possible. Like I say, I believe there was even I think it was a pick six. I'm pretty sure there might even have been two.
Hang on, let me
believe there was at least one defensive score.
Let me get up the things for this one.
As you say, another quarterback we know because there was Hogan. So the Nichols had an experienced QB of their own that transferred in, but yeah, had a very much different day. Like I say, he went 20 of 36 for 221 yards and a touchdown. So Nichols QB did very little wrong and did not put the ball in harm's way over there. So yeah, this for me, it was a bit of a demolition job if I'm honest. The Cardinal offense, like I say, could not get anything going whatsoever, and it kept stagnating. It kept being too loose in possession, and ultimately, they beat themselves as much as Nickel beat them, and in the end, it was pretty ugly by their standards. And it makes me do worry about life for them without Calzada and not having an experienced guy to step in straight away.
Yeah, Ty Marsh had the 29-yard interception return on that one to put them 10-3 up. But yeah, this thing was very uncompetitive. Deuce Hogan to Karaz Johnson, 55-yard absolute dime he put in there in the fourth quarter to end this one. But Incarnate Word ranked highly, down 20-6, and shout out for one of the performances of the week to the Nichols linebacker Jake Dalmado. If you want an FCS crush to look for, in this game he had a strip sack, 2 further sacks, 8 tackles, forced fumble, and a tackle for loss in coverage. Can't ask for a better day for that. But yeah, just quickly moving down to the FCS there. Massive scalpers. Nichols take down Incarnate Word, and that's really going to mess with their playoff chances now, right?
Yes, that will definitely hurt them when it comes to this time, like say a couple of months when the committee's looking at this. It will not look good. Torres also has had minus 45 rushing yards.
So yeah, that's from all his sacks.
That's all sacks and tackles. Like I say, yeah, it was I haven't seen a debut for a quarterback as like the actual starter probably got that bad for a team in a long time. Like I said, everything just went wrong for him. Like I said, and yeah, he needs a big old bounce back. Like I say, he just a game to settle his nerves. Like I say, it's never easy stepping in for a quarterback when you've got probably one of the biggest shoes to fill in the country. Like I say, and yeah, well, let's put it this way: you look who they've got next. It does not get any easier for the poor kid either.
Oh, who have they got next?
The UTSA Roadrunners.
Oh,
so
wow.
You've got FBS position, and you've got a quarterback that's got no confidence and just, like say, turn the ball over, I think, 4 times.
Okay, so rough start to the season there for Incarnate Word. Moving back up to the main slate, Nichols weren't the only FCS team to, well, look much better than people appreciated this weekend gone. We talked about some fixtures last week, and again I asked Ryan about this one particular team, and we said, yeah, we're really not going to do much in their game there. We're of course talking about the Idaho State Bengals on the road, going to the Allegiant in Las Vegas to take on Dan Mullen and his new UNLV Rebels team. Everyone expecting this to be an absolute walkover, and the betting lines supported this. UNLV were 30.5 favourites to win this game, so that is a 5-score. They were predicted by 5 scores to win this one, and they nearly lost in what is probably going to be one of the best FCS performances of all season. Idaho State 31, UNLV 38, and for a large portion of this game the Bengals were winning, and they weren't only winning, they were performing incredibly well. So they took a 10-0 lead in this one. Trajan Sinatra, the field goal kicker, he started this one off after 4 minutes with a 26-yard field goal. Sack from UNLV had stopped what threatened to maybe an early touchdown there for the for the Bengals. But they got a quick stop on this UNLV offense, went straight back to work, and they got a touchdown on their next drive, got all the way down to the UNLV 15. Jordan Cook, the quarterback for the Bengals, finds the big 6'6" Michael Shulikov in the end zone, and Michael Shulikov now is on my radar. This guy looks absolutely unbelievable.
Insane catch he made.
And he made this. We'll have to put it up here. He made one of the best catches you will ever see in your life. He looks perimeter guy number one. Think Andrew Yoshevas when he was back at Princeton, but potentially even better than that. Anyhow, that put the Rebs up 10-0 early. UNLV bite back. Jaden Thomas, the running back, had one of the games of his life. He looks absolutely tremendous. He's been a mainstay on this team for a couple of years now. But he had individual runs of 39 and 70 yards. Just, the guy's an absolute speedster. Just broke through Idaho State twice. And then you really began to fear for them, thinking, yeah, they've had their little early rally. This one is over. But over it was not, because on the other side of the ball, there was one of the best performances you'll see this year, maybe from an FCS player. Former linebacker Dason Brooks. He is 5'11", 230 pounds. Started off for the Bengals as a linebacker. Last year, they decided to make him a running back. He looks like a bowling ball, but he moves like a ballerina. This thing, he is absolutely tremendous. He had this 27-yard touchdown run where he forced about 4 missed tackles on this thing when he hit the edge. Puts Idaho State back up again with 2 minutes to go in the first half, and the Bengals defense holds out, so they go into half-time with a 17-14 lead. UNLV looks sluggish, they look out of sorts. Obviously no Brennan Marion, no Go-Go there anymore. Mullen's trying to put his own, touch of things on here. They're using Orgy and Calandra in rotation, which looks stupid because Calandra looks so much better. But they come out in the second half and, they look better instantly. They get 2 scores unopposed. First, Jaden Thomas with his 3rd touchdown of the day. Short run from just 3 yards out this time on the opening drive of the half. They turn the ball over pretty quickly. Get the ball back. Raymond Villaleta, the field goal kicker, he gets a 26-yard field goal kick, which puts UNLV 24-17 up. But the Bengals will not go away, and they respond with not 1 but 2 touchdowns of their own. First, Jordan Cook puts this absolute massive dart, 64 yards. This thing goes for Ian Duarte, completely blows up the UNLV defense. Again, another example of a safety going absolutely missing. He had no idea where this kid was. Scores level with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bengals get the ball back really quickly, and again, they drive all the way down the field. They get to the UNLV 2-yard line. Dason Brooks again gets him for the touchdown, and at this point, with 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Idaho State are winning by 7 at this point, but then the gas just starts to fade a little on this team, and the quarterbacks start to throw turnovers. There were 4 in total. As you could tell, the juice was just starting to run out a bit. UNLV leveled up really quickly on the next drive. Dejon Reynolds, the wide receiver, he gets a touchdown pass from Anthony Calandria, who is in at this point for the most part. Anthony Orgy's just, relegated to running the ball. It's 31-31, but then they turn the Bengals over. They score again within 2 minutes. This time it's Alex Orgy who has the deciding run of the game. It's an 11-yard touchdown run. Absolutely bulldozed his way into this thing to put UNLV up by 7. And then the Bengals turn it over 2 more times after this. And UNLV, by the hair of their chinny chin, hold on to what would have been one of the biggest upsets of the season all told. And I mean, this ride was such a fun game to watch, because just every time you thought UNLV were pulling away and the Bengals were just starting to lose gas, they found something, whether it was a big play, whether it was a disciplined long drive. And for a team that went 4-8 last year, they play in the Big Sky, which is a tough conference, a lot of big boys around there. I mean, this team looked good. I know the defense gave up 38, but it got more sacks than UNLV did. It had some big splash plays. And the offense, fronted by Dason Brooks and a quarterback who was good up until about the last 12 minutes. I mean, they can hold their heads up high from this performance, and there will be a lot of teams in the Big Sky going, oh, that easy win maybe we had predicted against these guys. I'm not so sure now.
Yeah, I think on paper, you can probably say that who would take more positives from this game, I definitely have to say the Bengals. And the only reason they lost was, one, to bear both teams, the discipline was atrocious. There was 18 penalties for 170 yards. Both of them teams at points lost their heads completely. It was a super scrappy, chippy game. There were a lot of, like, say, tussles and fighting, and the officials probably have had enough of them. But yeah, the Bengals showed that they've got an outstanding receiving core. There was, like, say, one play where, like, say, the quarterback throws to the outside and the diving catch from the receiver, and he had to watch it on replay like 10 times. He got his toe in bounds. That was the first amazing catch. Like I say, they actually didn't really let a catch at first, and they're going to be a turnaround downs, but they gave him it. And then Shulikov, yeah, the fact is, like I say, 6'6", the DB, the coverage is perfect. Pins him to the sideline, and like a spider crab, he wraps his arms round his body and he catches the ball behind his head. Like I say, and it was an absolutely outstanding catch to keep a drive alive. But yeah, that is a proper serious receiving threat core. And then you've got a bowling ball running back. Like I say, really good. Like I say, their offense was pretty potent on the day, and their special teams was pretty clutch. So yeah, ultimately it was just running out of steam and penalties in the end. And then UNLV, yeah, they won the game, but I said like last week, when you decide to hit the portal and hit the portal hard, this is what happens. You get a whole defense, and I tweeted like, did they any of them? It's like the first time they met each other. So you got 5 stars: Denver Harris, Justin Vloor. You got 4-star safety Jake Pope, Adelele, a 4-star edge rusher, and none of them were on the same page. That secondary for most of the game was dreadful. Like I said, these are guys that are fighting for their college lives. That's why they're here, because they've run out of options, like Vloor and Harris. And yeah, they were stinking up the place for me. They were not good. Like I say, I really felt a lot of times they were lack discipline. Sometimes some of them strike me as players that just think they're better than they are, and they don't think they should be at these smaller schools, but they are through injury or poor play. But yeah, Dan Mullen, like I say, these guys have not clicked quick enough at all through practice. And then yeah, lots of flags for them as well, another 90 yards. Yeah, in the end, I think they just outlasted an opponent. And the whole, we'll try put Orgy in, like saying, like mix it up a little bit, didn't work. You should have put Calandra in way earlier and just left him there, because he was the only guy that was able to exploit that defense with a better arm. Like I said, Antony has got to be the starter for me, not Alex, purely because he can throw the ball better. And we saw that on second half where, like I say, he was airing it out a little bit more. But yeah, it was very untidy, a lot of things to work on. And in the end, I think they're just glad they survived, because that would have been pretty embarrassing. But Dan Mullen, at the end of the game, his face pretty much said it was a picture. He was just relieved, and yeah, probably gave some really harsh words in the dressing room about that, like I said. But yeah, they would have been thoroughly deserved. They need to gel quickly and bounce back and look better.
As you say, there are some serious players on this Idaho State team. So Dason Brooks, 19 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, just a smidge under 7 yards per carry. As a receiver, he was targeted 7 times, 6 catches for 38 yards. So he's a chain mover as a receiver as well. But then, like I said, you got Shulikov, 3 catches for 72 yards. They dipped into the playbook here. They ran a reverse screen double pass for a touchdown. Shulikov threw a touchdown pass. They threw the screen to the left. Shulikov hoiked it right across to the right-hand side of the field to the quarterback. The quarterback scored a touchdown. I think it's the first one he's ever scored as a receiver. But like they went nuts here. They left nothing untamed in that team, Ryan. Like I say, there are going to be teams in this Big Sky now, and the Big Sky's going to be worried about them. Now they need to show that this isn't a fluke, and that, you know, it's just a performance on the day playing up to the level. But you fancy their chances of doing well in the Big Sky this year have just gone up significantly.
Yeah, like I say, last year they were hit and miss. They weren't great at home. Like you said, they didn't have a good record. As you mentioned, the Big Sky, for me, is a premier FCS conference. You've got a lot of the big hitting playoff teams in the Big Sky. It's very competitive. And yeah, now from what I need to see them is when they get into their FCS schedule, I just actually check their schedule next week is Eastern Washington, who are a big team in their own right. Now I need to see that you can do what you've done there to them. It is no good just doing that against UNLV and like, oh, well, it was a free hit, so we pulled out all the tricks and we tried to get them, like say, that won't mean anything if you can't do it to Big Sky opponents and FCS opponents. And now I need to see them. That explosive offense, like you say, where you're punishing them, like you're laying it on, go do that to them. Like you say, this year, make a run. Like you say, be more competitive in the Big Sky and try to ask questions of those big sides, like you say, because there's some really strong sides there that they'll go up against. And like I say, test their title credentials. Like I say, don't just roll over when they come to town.
No, and maybe don't ask your quarterback to throw 52 passes, which is what they did in that one. But I mean, he went 31 for 369 yards. He did get a touchdown, but the 3 picks, I think they kind of just ran out of juice in the end there. In terms of UNLV, Jaden Thomas is an absolute stud. He looks great. 11 carries, 147 yards, 3 touchdowns, just a measly 13.3 yards per carry for him. Calandria had 124 yards as a rusher, and he's quite clearly the better passer, so you've got to figure that one's over at this point. On defense, it was the not-so-big names that were great. Marcel McDuffie, the linebacker there, he had an absolutely tremendous game. He had one of the picks in this one, 6 tackles as well, and near a sack. And was good in coverage. Shout out as well to Amarius Brown, the cornerback. He got targeted 13 times on the day. Like, I don't know what Idaho State saw. They went after him 13 times. He gave up 6 catches for 77 yards, but he did have 1 interception and 3 pass breakups as well. So they kept going after him and he kept delivering. So there's some names on that UNL defense, but I think for them it's growing pains, right? New coach, offensive systems changed. It's all changing. They probably will be fine, but this may be for them. This might be good for them. Might expose their flaws early so they can fix them quicker.
Yeah, I think they will go back and watch this film and they will be better for it. They know how their starting quarterback is. They know what did work, what didn't work. Sometimes it's nice to get, like I said, there were drives where they got their ass kicked, and they'll go away, they'll work on it, and eventually a lot of these new players, especially on defense, they will click. They'll gel quickly. Like I say, you'll see those big 4 or 5 stars come into their own.
Yeah, you will do. So, it's a win is a win. They've got it there. You've got it out your system. But for Idaho State, well played. Tremendous performance. And hopefully we'll see more of them maybe in the playoffs at the end of the season in the FCS. Right, moving on. We've got 2 more games. I think it's 2 more to get through. Well, there's a couple more here, but we'll just go through those and then we're going to take a look at week 1 because that is what we're looking for. CUSA had an all CUSA game to start off with. Sam Houston, the Bearcats, away at the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, and this was actually a very close game for the most part. The score might not indicate that as such, but up until late in the third, up until about halfway through the third quarter, this was a very close affair. So Western Kentucky started this one off, scored in the first 7 minutes. Maverick McIver, we've talked about him a lot in this preseason, and my bet on him having the most passing yards in college football this year went up this week. Let's just say he had a 26-yard touchdown throw to Matthew Henry, who looks like he's going to be a star this year as well, if his line this week is anything to go by. Sam Houston hit that, though, with 10 unanswered, an RJ Lopez 40-yard field goal. Then Hunter Watson, a 54-yard touchdown run for him, put Sam Houston 10-7 up. Western Kentucky hit back with 3 scores in a row. Lavelle Wright had a 1-yard rushing touchdown. John Cannon had 2 field goals from 49 and 42 to put Western Kentucky 10 points up. But then this all changed at the start of the second half. So Alton McCaskill had a 2-yard touchdown run for Sam Houston to bring them back within 3. And then their defense immediately got the turnover. So Jamed Diaz, he had a 43-yard fumble return. And in 2 minutes, Sam Houston went from being 10 down to 4 up. But then Western Kentucky, this one went crazy in the third. 3 minutes after this happened, Maverick McIver with another touchdown pass to KD Hutchinson from 9 yards for a touchdown. And then another 4 minutes later, he found Marvin Parrish from 22 yards for the second touchdown, putting them 10 points up. And then going into the fourth quarter, he got a rushing touchdown himself from 4 yards out. And this thing went from 24-20 to Sam Houston to Western Kentucky 41, Sam Houston 24, which the game ended on. And Sam Houston turned the ball over towards the end as it got a little bit ugly. But a close game, competitive game. But Western Kentucky, you know, they're going to be what they're going to be. Maverick McIver in his first game in the FBS, 32 of 50 for 401 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown as well, although he is a pocket passer. Some things are never going to change with the Hilltoppers, right? 405 yards in the air, 114 on the ground. They ground out a win. And Maverick looks great, and he's going to stat pad to hell this year.
Oh yeah, great move for him in the portal. Like you say, he came from a pretty much spread offense. He's a pocket passer. It's not a lot different for him. That's why he picked the system, if I'm honest, because it will give him the chance to rack up a crazy shitload of stats. And look, it's worked for guys that's got to the NFL. Like you say, you've got Jaref Stearns that right now is one of the best. He's a really good receiver in the CFL, and he was part of this. You've got Bailey Zappi that stuck around in the NFL. So yeah, Western Kentucky, they send players. And to be fair, like I say, Henry and KD Hutchinson, he has got one of the better G5 pairs of receivers in the country. Those two are going to be a handful for defense all this year. But this is what they do, the Hilltoppers. They go into these parts of games where they're just really quiet, like say where teams kind of suffocate them or they slow them down, they fall behind. But then when you go air raid, you score, and you usually score pretty quickly. It can, like say, games can get away from teams pretty quickly. They are one-dimensional, and you saw in that third quarter how you can stifle them. There is a recipe there to beat them. But ultimately, when they decide to open the can of whoop-ass on you, then yeah, it does really, yeah. But yeah, the scoreline does not reflect how, for large parts of that game, it was close. It's just inflated, because they did get some of those cheaper later scores. But yeah, a great start for him. As you say, he's going to be up there in all the categories at the end of the year. Like I say, I'm going to the title game. Like I say, whether they will be there, but someone will be able to step in and stop them. But yeah, but for Sam Houston, I still see the positives that I saw in the last 4 or 5 games of last season, where they finished strong. Come in, like I say, they played their best part. They just ultimately ran out of steam and couldn't keep up with a pretty high-powered offense. But yeah, they'll be fine. Like I say, Western Kentucky. Yeah, not a convincing performance, even though the scoreline wants me to think it is.
Yeah, it's just the imbalance of the offense again. They're still not like they're running the football very well. So, you know,
they'll win a lot and they'll lose a lot.
Yeah. Live by the sword, die by the sword, as they say. Sam Houston, obviously, new head coach there. This is a rebuild project. Showed flashes. Probably not going to be their year overall, but still quite compelling game, quite competitive, which is not what can be said for the last game. Every week needs a blowout, and week 0 was no stranger to this. And unfortunately, it turned into the Fresno State Bulldogs. Although, to be fair, they were all right for the first quarter, but ultimately on the road to Kansas. Kansas, remember their twonking from UNLV last year at home, and they were not going to fall to Mountain West opposition again. Kansas won 31-7 in a game which doesn't feel like it's taught as much about either team, given this Jalen Daniels looked really good. 18 of 20, so near on perfect passing, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns for him. Passed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different receivers on the day. So they were using this opportunity to spread it out and get a load of guys some carries. Fresno State, on the other hand, E.J. Warner is there now, obviously son of Kurt, and his problems follow him. He's a good quarterback who gets his stats up, but turnovers, 18 of 24, 148 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got sacked 3 times. Fresno State were only able to get 1 sack on Jalen Daniels. I mean, Little bit of a non-contest, this one here. Kansas scored pretty quickly in this. Cam Pickett got himself a touchdown pass there. Fresno State did hit back. Elijah Gilliam had a touchdown run from 3 yards out just a couple of minutes later, but then it all just went kind of to the hell then. Kansas converted a 4th and 1 for a touchdown. That was Fresno State's chance there. LaShawn Williams ran it in from 20 yards out when they could have stopped that there. Cam Pickett had his second touchdown pass of the day. And then just before the half, a field goal. So it's 24-7 at the half. Kansas scored 8 minutes into the second half. Keaton Kubeka, the tight end, got in on the action there, and then this game just kind of fizzled out as there wasn't really much there. Not much we can take away from this one. One of your average non-cons. Big good team beats bad team. Can't really draw too much. Kansas did look good though. They did their job. They avoided the upset. They did it professionally.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet on a couple of weeks ago that Jalen Daniels was their like super sleeper for the Heisman, and I mean, I get it because like I say, Jalen Daniels, he's an incredibly talented quarterback. And I think he could play at a lot of schools, with no disrespect to the Jayhawks, that are better than Kansas. But he has been loyal, because he was split. Him and Jason Bean, kind of like we're always battling, haven't for the last couple of years. They've been the starter, like they've been to-ing and fro-ing. And they've both played a lot of football for recent years now. Obviously, Jason's gone, it's Jalen's season. Yeah, for 5-10 minutes, this was a game. And then Kansas took over, and the second half was a completely dead rubber, to be honest. Like I say, they just rotated their guys in because they knew the job was done. But yeah, I'd like to see Kansas be competitive in the Big 12 this year. I believe they've got the personnel to do it. They've definitely got the coaching staff, because we can talk about this one as one of the best resurrections of college football of the last 5-10 years. Kansas football being back and being impactful. Yeah, I'd say plenty of skill positions. I'd say Cam Pickett had a great game. Yeah, EJ Warner. I don't know about the fit. I don't know about them, pursuing him. Other options. Back to the drawing board, Fresno State. Maybe we'll find out quickly if it was just a bad week or if it's going to be a bad season.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to wait till they get to the Mountain West opposition first, but they come up against Hawaii. I'd fancy Hawaii against them. They're going to get some picks on there. They're probably going to, I don't know. I really fancy
Warner, there's always had an issue with turnovers.
Yeah, that's been his one Achilles heel. That's why he's not talked about more until he stops turning. And this is year 3 or 4 of him been a starter now.
Yep.
Year 4? It's got to be year 4. He had 2 at Temple. He had 1 at FAU last year. This is his 4th year as a starter. So if you're still turning the ball over now, then you got issues.
So. Broken, yeah. The mechanics, they're wrong. They're broken.
Yeah.
It's too late to fix it. So it's going to be an interesting season how they... Yeah. It's going to be one of those, at some point you're going to have to sit him. We'll see how many games it takes to sit him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the very last game, I believe this is the last one uncovered, down at the FCS level, and of interest to Brent, because Army play these guys very soon, and I happen to know from a lot of people in the know, they're predicting this as one of the biggest potential FCS to FBS upsets to start this season. The Tarleton State Texans absolutely obliterated Portland State 42-0. A fine tune-up game for them as they go to take on the Black Knights, and
their running back just went wild.
Yeah, they play like that again. So Trey Page the third, 15 carries, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mia, 11.3 yards per carry, and his backup had 11 for 51 and a touchdown. So, quarterback had a flawless day as well. They had 100-yard receiver, Cody Jackson. So, be careful. Tarleton State are proposed to upset Army at this point. So, we'll see. I don't know. I think, are they more of a rushing team? I don't know. Is this rush on rush or...
Yeah. Tarleton State last year were also a very rush-heavy team. They had some of the best skill players in the country as well, like you say. So, we're going to be seeing them a lot more frequently in recent couple of years, as they make the move.
Yeah, they're going to make the move eventually.
They're quite a big team in Texas. I think they're one of those teams that I see could having success pretty early.
Yeah, absolutely. That is everything from the Week 0 slate. So we had an absolute banger in Ireland.
Poor Mercer, UC Davis.
Oh, sorry. It got cancelled.
I've never seen a game null and voided with 7 minutes left.
And what was it? So, the big FCS matchup. I'm sorry, I completely forgot, but it's because it was cancelled. So was it...
UC Davis led by 7 with 7 minutes to go. And how it rolls is, if they get thunder strikes so far, they suspend it. And every half an hour, if they get a lightning strike towards the stadium, the clock resets. So after an hour and a half delay, they just called it. And it, like I say, so their Caden Pinnock, their new freshman quarterback at UC Davis, shit hot in the first half. He was running the ball, he was throwing, like you say, he was physical, had a rushing touchdown. He was running the show. And the Mercer defense, which was one of the best in the country last year, could not handle him. But then special teams, I believe they blocked a kick. They managed to scrap it away in at the start of the second half. It was like 21-14. But yeah, with 7 minutes to go, heavens open nearby in Thunder, yeah? That's it, the stats are gone. And people are saying, what does this mean for the committee, for the FCS playoffs? Like you say, you've got number 7 and number 11, and it's like they never even met. And one started well, but one was coming back into it. Like, you're going to have a discussion about that game. If one of them's going to make the playoffs, you can't just ignore it. Yeah, and like I said, they are not replaying it.
That seems crazy, doesn't it? That one of the biggest fixtures, probably the season, just in general.
Have you played enough minutes where a team's leading that they get the win? Like, obviously, in soccer, at some point, like, after 75 minutes, can't results stand for bad weather?
Yeah. I mean, I've woken up when some Pac-12 games have been finishing because they've held off for lightning and stuff like that.
Arizona State, 2 years ago, in Northern Arizona, had that sandstorm.
Yeah.
I swear that delayed them for like an hour or two.
That was like 3 hours, I think. It was crazy.
That was after the game kicked off, but they decided we would knock one of the biggest games of the season, the FCS like Chick-fil-A kickoff, whatever it's called. They just called it. A lot of people are very unhappy. Me too.
I don't blame them in the slightest. But
that could have some ramifications later in the year because one of them are going to pick up a huge scalp. Eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. But the big FCS game cancelled with 7 minutes left. That was crazy, and it was going to a wild finish. But what a week 0 was. We had a big brawl in Ireland. Hawaii looking absolutely tremendous in coming from behind to beat Stanford. The Idaho State Bengals looked tremendous in a valiantly losing defeat against UNLV, and then some other good wins across the board. A great amuse-bouche for what is going to be a tremendous week 1 on the season. So we're going to take a little look at that now. And again, for those who haven't been around with us before, we're going to do our college football pick watchers. Hank makes an appearance on the pod. Hope you're doing well, Hank. Grandizer is going to miss this one. Shame. Hopefully he's able to see it back on repeat. We're going to go. So we have a pick watch. We have a college football pick watch in our Discord, and we decide our predictions on air here. We're going to go through those, and then we'll talk about the other games afterwards. So the first week of the season, we love it, and there is actually, for the non-cons, a very competitive slate of games going on this weekend, which is going to be interesting to see what happens. So Ryan, if you're ready, we need to try and win this year because the guys keep beating us, and we can't call ourselves the college guys if we can't win these. So first up on the slate here, we got the Nebraska Cornhuskers at the Cincinnati Bearcats, two teams who have struggled mightily in recent years. Nebraska and their Patrick Mahomesian-looking quarterback have not been able to get things going. Obviously, big upturn for them over the offseason. They've lost their defensive coordinator to Florida State. That's all going to change. So that's the one good part of their team, whether the offense is going to come alive or not. And Cincinnati have not taken to life in the Big 12 very well, whereas all the other teams who've come up from the American have had their moments. They are yet to have theirs. This is a big game for both teams, who will want to start off as they mean to go on and accumulate some wins this year, which is what makes it so difficult to predict. Who have we got? Nebraska at Cincinnati. Who is going to be your winner for this? The first pick of the season.
Well, Nebraska are only 6.5 point favourites, which tells you everything you need to know. I'm picking Cincinnati. I'm saying Raiola starts the season as he ended last season, as a stinker.
Weirdly enough, so am I.
I'm going for Bearcats upset.
Yep, me too. And I don't think anyone else has picked them, so we're immediately at odds with everyone.
That obnoxious. That tells me this is going to all come crashing down this year.
Yeah. I've got Cincinnati. And that Cincinnati team's not bad this year. They've had a good portal. They finally got a settled team. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think they've just been slowly building this thing under the radar.
Corleone is fit again.
Yeah. They're slowly building this thing under the radar. I expect them to do well. Of course, Brent's going to disagree with us and go Huskers. He also says he's not worried about Tarleton State, but I know for a fact he's probably watching a video on YouTube now of Tarleton State winning at the weekend, seeing just how good they are with that little bit of nerve in the back there. Right, we've got the big one. It's Lee Corso's retirement. He is over 90 years old now. He has been going on forever, and he is going to make one last pick with his signature mascot hats he puts on and decides who's going to win. And it's one of the biggest games of the season, and we're going to get it week 1, which is absolutely tremendous. Texas, the number 1 ranked team in the country, with the diminutive Arch Manning getting his first year as a starter, to some of the biggest hype we've seen in a long, long time. What a start he's got going into this year as he goes on to take on the reigning, defending national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Julian Sayin, and their number 3 rank here. It's very rare you get a top 3 matchup this early into the season, but this a huge game for both teams when it comes to playoff seeding, ramifications, early season there. This is the year where people expect Texas to go on and win it. For Ohio State, it is a new era. Most of their defense is new. New quarterback. He's going to be learning on the job. They're at home. The expectations are there. This is going to be an absolutely tremendous affair. Who is going to win the top 3 battle for you? Ohio State or Texas?
For me, this isn't about the quarterbacks. This is about who's going to be hunting them. And it's got to be Texas. That Texas defensive front, Julian Sayin will be seeing stars. He will be a rabbit in headlights. He ain't ever going to come up against anything that ferocious. Colin Simmons will be going WWF on his ass. Yeah, give me the Longhorns. I think this will be an ugly, scrappy game as both quarterbacks come up against some serious defensive firepower.
Yep, I've got Texas as well, and for the same reason, I think the defensive line's going to win it. Ohio State's is new this year. They've got a lot of new bodies on this team. I think they'll be very competitive, but I expect Arch to do his job just enough to be able to do this. And of course, they've got a stable running back room this year, which they didn't have to start last year. So, yeah, I've got Texas winning, but I think it will be close. Next up, I've put this in here maybe just to, for Ash's purpose here, but number 8, Alabama at Florida State. Florida State coming off a rotten 2-10 year. Interesting strategy they've deployed in the run-up to this game. They have been running their mouths something crazy. Thomas Castellanos, the new quarterback, saying that he reckons they're going to run them over. Mike Norvell, the head coach, saying that he declined the job at Alabama because it's not as big as the job that he's got now. And obviously Alabama coming into year 2 of Kalen DeBoer. 2 programs who, in differing circumstances, have fallen from grace. Alabama's is not as far as Florida State's is, but 2 teams who really need a win to start the year off well. Alabama ranked high. You kind of feel they need to win a bit more. I mean, for me, this is very easy. I think Alabama are going to drop 50 on them, but it is a banana skin for them as much as we hate Florida State. It's not going to be the easiest game in the world. Who have you got, Ryan?
I've got Bama, but I think this is going to be really close. I think both teams score less than 30. I think this will be a proper slugfest. And like I said, I don't trust Ty Thompson whatsoever. I feel like Keelan Russell will probably come in for at least a drive this game. I think that Florida State defense will.
Oh yeah, Ty Simpson, the new one. Yeah, 2 new quarterbacks.
But close. They won't be impressive. It'll be scrappy, but I think the Tide will just probably eke this one out.
I've got Bama as well. I think they're going to absolutely let loose on them. Brent had Texas. He agreed with us for the second one. The next one I'm really interested in, because this is 2 teams who we low-key like this year. Auburn at Baylor. So Auburn with this wonderful wide receiver core they've got. Jackson Arnold looking to kickstart his career. It kind of feels, and I know you have a lot of false dawns with them, that this is the season where they're really going to start making some noise. But they're coming up against the Baylor Bears. They're coming up against Sawyer Robertson, Dawson Pendergrass. This team, which is also, it's experienced. It's been building under the radar for a couple of years now. And we expect them to go after the Big 12. This is, again, an important tone setter for 2 teams who they'll want to start well. You don't want to start with a few losses, which then messes up the rest of your season. So I'm intrigued. Auburn at Baylor. Obviously, Baylor have the home advantage here. Who are you favouring in this one out of the two teams who are dark horses we expect to do much better this year?
This, for me, is a huge game for both teams that want to get their season off to the right start. My question is, can Auburn run the ball consistently without Jarquez Hunter, who is the only real beacon of hope they've had in recent years? They've got experience on the classroom behind them. I'm leaning towards Baylor purely because they've got Malik Washington and Prendergast. They've got a legit dual threat. And those two running backs can bail out Roberts if needs be. They can keep it on the ground and do it dirty style if they have to. I'm going to take the Bears in a huge upset. I think even at home advantage, people would consider this a massive upset. So give me the Big 12.
See, this is really tough. I'm not sure. I think Auburn are favoured in this. I think they're 56% favourites to win it.
To be totally convinced by him.
I hate this because when I do this, I go off feelings and emotion a lot, and I'm actually going to agree with Brent. Something's drawing me towards Auburn. I just feel like they have recruited really well. I think that wide receiver core is great. I think they've got game changers on that offense. I think the offensive line was young last year. They got one of the best centers in football anchoring that line. It was young last year. So I do have Auburn beating Baylor, but I think this low-key could be one of the games of the week. If this is like a 70-point, 1,100-yard shootout, that's fine with me. So, yeah, we're splitting here for the first time. You're going Baylor, I'm going Auburn. Next up, we've got Northwestern on the road at Tulane. This is Power 4 against Group of 5, but only one person in the pick watch so far has picked Northwestern to win. Obviously, in all sorts of bother. The team, it looked better last year. It went bowling last year. I'm surprised, given Tulane. Obviously, John Sumrall is there. We're expecting them to challenge for the American this year. That defensive line of theirs is going to be tremendous. But Northwestern have one of the best tackles in football. Their line is usually pretty good. I'm intrigued by this. Who have you got? Do we have Northwestern winning, or are you going for the Group of 5 upset?
This is hard, like I say, because the Tulane quarterback, it feels like they're keeping it feels like they're keeping it under wraps. I still don't feel certain who's going to be under centre. Like I say, I like John Sumrall. Like I say, Northwestern's got a new QB, Preston Stone. He was good at SNU until he lost the job. So they've got an experienced guy. Give me Northwestern. Just.
See, I've gone Northwestern. I like David Braun.
He finished last year strong.
I like David Braun as a coach very much.
He's done a good job of steadying the ship. He's still pretty rocky. Like I said, as of last week, they're in the news for all the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's keeping that out of it. He's just getting them focused on the field, even if the school is in a bit of a mess financially now.
Yeah. I've got Northwestern too. I like David Braun. I think that Northwestern team's going to surprise people. They're going to be well coached. That's one thing they're going to be.
They always have good linebackers.
Exactly. And that defense against the Tulane offense, I think it can do enough to do a road upset, which sounds strange with them in the power team. But yeah, we got Northwestern there. All right, moving on. I've got Georgia Southern at Fresno State. We've seen Fresno get blown out week 1 of the season. Didn't look entirely competitive, but playing against Group of 5 opposition now. But Georgia Southern expected to challenge for the Sun Belt this year. This is Clay Helton's project. Great passing offense. Defense is getting better year on year. I think they're one of the best all-round teams in the Sun Belt this year. But it's Fresno State's home patch. They are going to be hurting after a first week battering. You would expect some sort of a reaction out of them. This again is really, really close. I am going to favour Georgia Southern because I put Georgia Southern in the Sun Belt title game, and I feel they've got to be beating the likes of Fresno State if they're going to do that. But who do you have?
I don't think it's going to be close. I think Georgia Southern will kick their ass. I imagine that Georgia Southern have played against DJ Warner at least once before. It won't surprise me. They probably know him pretty well.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, like I say,
So
and for me, AJ Warner, life's like a game of snakes and ladders, and I think he's just going to keep stepping on snakes, not ladders. I think this is going to be another week where it could be they prey on him for turnovers.
I
So,
live.
yeah, I don't like the Bulldogs' chances this year.
No.
This year, like a G5 upset.
I live for your analogies, absolutely. We've got a Georgia Southern sweep on that one. Brent agrees. Brent says Tulane. Lisa says Northwestern. Lisa agrees with us. So there we go. The other big fixture this weekend, which has big playoff ramifications. Number 9 LSU on the road at number 4 Clemson. Now we've obviously both bigged Clemson up to the high horses. We both had them, I think, going to the Natty game. I've got them winning it. But LSU, Nussmeier, expected to be one of the best QBs in the country this year. We know what a dangerous wide receiver core you've got there with Barry and Brown and Aaron Anderson. The defense it's very good. It was getting good towards the end of last year. LSU are a formidable team regardless of where they're at. They need to perform this year. This is a game they have to win if they want to show that they're legitimate playoff contenders this year. But Clemson might just be the best team in the nation. You smelling an upset here? Or are we sticking to our convictions and saying this is Clemson's year and they're going to run the road on them?
It's a must not lose for both of them. I'm just once again.
Clemson can afford to lose it more because of the ACC, I reckon.
Yeah.
The strength of schedule in the ACC. But will they?
LSU could redeem themselves if they lose it. Yeah, Clemson would struggle to redeem themselves with a big win if they lost it. But again, I just look at that Clemson defense, that D line, the linebackers,
like the defensive line,
Terrell, the whole defense, and then I just look at like Harold Perkins. It's just he's lost. Is he going to be able to refine that magic? Like I said, I've got Weeks winning the best linebacker of the country award, and I still think he'll have an outstanding week. But I don't think he can do it on his own. I think that Nussmeier will be put under too much pressure and he may struggle to connect to them receivers. So I'll take Clemson. I think this is going to be defensive battle.
Lisa goes, how is Clemson's defense? Well, I mean, that defensive line, you've got 2 potential top 5 draft picks in...
Sammy Brown, one of the best up-and-coming linebackers in the country.
You've got Wade Woodaz at linebacker.
You've got Avian
Terrell at corner. You've got Peter Woods and TJ Parker, who are projected top 5 draft picks. You've drafted in Will Held from Purdue, which is defensive end U.
Last year, the D is just stellar.
Clemson's got the best edge rushing duo in the country, not to open up this argument with Brent again, and then they've got it with one of the best defensive tackles they've had in years. And bear in mind what that school's produced. They say they've got a stud they've got a stud veteran linebacker, they've got a stud young linebacker. Avian Terrell's one of the best young corners in the country. I think that defense is going to shut down. But LSU have the best taught receivers in the country. These guys are elite at their trade. So if there's one team that can knock them open, I think in LSU's case, they need to make this a shootout, don't they? They need to take the defense out the equation. They need to hit deep, hit hard, take that D-line out the equation. If they can do that, but
run games well, like I say, because you've got Caden Durham. LSU have got to run the ball.
Yeah, can they get Caden Durham involved? Yeah,
he's graduated, so Clemson will be working in a new running back. So yeah, LSU, if they get the run game going, it will open up the pass.
But it's that stud 5-star true freshman, isn't it? Clemson have got that super recruit in who apparently is having the camp of all camps. So, I think it's tough. I don't think it's close. It's very close. I do have Clemson to win this, but I feel like it could be a walk-off field goal or something like that. Like this could come down to the last play of the game, which will delight Ash because Ash knows about how LSU lose on last-minute field goals and all the time. So, yeah. So you've got Clemson, yeah?
Yeah.
It's really tough, but again, this is such a good slate for week 1. Right, we've got 3 left. Utah at UCLA, and UCLA who are starting Nico Iamalevu this year, but Utah are obviously revamped now. Devon Dampier, the new quarterback, absolutely love him. They've got the best tackle duo in the country, potentially. Their offensive tackles, led by Spencer Farno. It seems like they're kind of ready to get back into the dance this year in the Big 12, whereas UCLA are also, two teams that are rebuilding from been much better. But Utah are on the road. It's in UCLA. It's in Los Angeles. Who have you got?
I think it should be pretty straightforward for the Utes. I'm not high on UCLA. I watched a bit of them last year, and like I say, they didn't enamour me.
I've got Utah as well, so interesting there. Back to the other one. Lisa goes, I would be surprised then if LSU wins. Give me Clemson. Yeah. Ball's got to come out the hands quick there for Nussmeier. And then we've got a third. So we've got 3 top 10 matchups this week. We've got 1v3, 9 vs 4, and we got 6 vs 10. Notre Dame losing natty contenders last year, rebounding, traveling to the number 10 Miami, Florida Hurricanes. You've got new CJ Carr, Notre Dame. The time is now. It was not decided till last week, but they're finally going to have their own commit. A lot of fanfare around him last year. Not as much attrition on this team as some of the others around there. There's still a lot of good players on this team. Going to Miami or Florida, obviously it's Carson Beck's time there now. He needs a big year. He's at home. It's a statement win for either one of these two to win. Obviously, Miami got a good backfield. The receivers, iffy, because there's no Restrepo this year. They've lost Arroyo as well. You wonder how the skill positions have been replenished. Offensive line looks okay. The defense is stacked. Ruben Bain, one of the best edges in the country. They've got a lot of high level. They've got the defensive tackle who's predicted to go high in the draft. They've got Maui Goa at right tackle. Lot of talent in this Miami team. But Notre Dame, they looked much better last year. Jeremiah Love is probably going to run for 2,000 yards this year. All comes down to CJ Carr and how he can handle the pressure. But Miami are under a lot of pressure this year as well with Cristobal. You've got to go and win the ACC. This is 2 under pressure teams. 1 under pressure head coach at home. Who do we have?
I think just hand it off to Jeremiah Love. He's going to run wild. Like I said, I don't think CJ Carr will have to do much to win this game. And I ain't a Carson Beck guy. And I've ever been. Didn't like the fit. Don't like the fit. This strikes to me as, like I say, Notre Dame going there and they show Miami up on their home patch.
See, this is tough for me. It's the Miami D-line against the Notre Dame O-line. Can Bain influence this game? If they can get pressure, if they can rattle CJ Carr early, but the run defense has been suspect. And it is Jeremiah Love. They've got a good backup. Carson Beck's in.
Yeah, Beck, but then let's say Beck got thrown at Watts and Schuler, 2 of the best safeties in the country.
I'm going against my bet. So you're going with Notre Dame. No, screw it. How am I going to... This is probably the toughest of the 3 because the obvious better team is on the road, but they've got the veteran quarterback, which could decide it all. And Notre Dame are under pressure this year because they've been to the Natty. People are going to expect him to go back. Any regression will not be good for him. So I am going to go Miami. I just think the veteran experience might just trump them here. So, but it's very close, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if I'm wrong. Lisa says Miami. Brent goes, oh yeah, it's convicts versus Catholics. Completely forgot that. Oh, is it convicts versus Catholics? No, it's not. Is it? No, converts versus Catholics is Michigan, or is it? No, I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I will have to. But yeah, it is technically converts versus Catholics. But Brent's taking Miami, so we've all got Miami. Interesting. And then to finish this off for the pick watch games, anyhow, Bill. It's all about Bill. They're giving him his own special day. We're getting college football on a Monday, which is going to be completely out of sync because we're not used to seeing that. But it is TCU at UNC. It is Big Bill's debut, but this is a TCU team who I know you like a lot. That they do have a dark horse Heisman candidate in Josh Hoover. They've got a good defense. They're physical. They're tough. Sonny Dykes has this team coached well. And nobody knows how Bills football is going to translate to college. And, there's a ton of transfers in. We don't know what a lot of these guys are going to be like. Quarterback situation, Gio Lopez, I believe, got the gig. He's been great at South Alabama, but it's a complete wild card this year. We know what TCU and Sonny Dykes are. The world's going to be wanting Bill and UNC to win or lose, whatever. There's going to be a lot of feeling over this, but who have we got, right? TCU, UNC, the battle of the capitals.
Oh, TCU. This is the start of, like I said, Bill's demise, and I am going to be here front row for it.
It's historic.
Team, like you said, I just don't. I just look at it and just think, yeah.
I'm with you. I think historically, it depends how much he's done with that defense. UNC are historically terrible on defense, and they usually get picked off by passers.
Hampton's gone. Like I say, Hampton was the guy.
Yeah,
I could rely on, and now we're just looking like who's filling that huge gaping void.
You've got to wonder what's going on there. So I've got TCU as well, but I'm going to stay up and watch it. I'm intrigued. Maybe Bill will surprise us, but yeah, I'm. Let's just say we're not fully sold on that one. So yeah.
I wonder how many times the camera will go to Jordan on the sideline.
Brent goes, trust me on this one, Anthony. It's Miami, not Michigan. Yeah, I know Miami are the convicts. That goes back to the 2000s team. I just couldn't work out who were Catholics, but obviously Michigan is not a Catholic school, so there we go. Lisa's got TCU as well. We're all going TCU. We're all betting against Big Bad Bill. Right, that is the Pig Watch done. So in terms of other games, we have games on tonight in a couple of hours time. I mean,
half an hour, I think.
Yeah, interesting fixture. Boise State. We're going to see what Boise are like post Ashton Jonty, the number 25 ranked team. They're playing against the South Florida Bulls and Alex Golesh. Byron Brown is healthy, I believe.
This should be a fun one.
That is good. Yes, it's a big year for Golesh and the Bulls. They need to start making. Again, another team that was down on its luck. Golesh has done a good rebuilding job. He's got them to a level base, but now they've got to start going upwards. But Boise, obviously, Sayer Gaines, we need to see.
That's how Gaines does, yeah. Like I say, you got.
It's all about Gaines. It's about Maddox. I know a lot of people will favour.
Like I say, one of the best young safeties in the country. Like I say, there's a lot of talent here.
Yeah.
But like I say, they've got to live up to the heights now because they've set the bar incredibly high for themselves now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do we see an upset there? Because Boise are ranked 25. They are the ranked team. I don't think a lot of people will expect USF to win, but I don't know. Colour me optimistic and silly.
I think USF will score some points. I think they'll cause them trouble.
Yeah, I sniff an upset here. Maybe not too big a sniff, but I sniff one. So, but that's tonight. So, the good college football for you to watch tonight. South Florida at home to Boise State. There's a lot of draft potential to like on that Boise team. The left tackle is predicted to go in the first round, so give him a look. Rutgers start their season tonight as well, which is always interesting because we're always Rutgers stands. Eric O'Neill, the edge there out of James Madison. Keep an eye on him. A lot is expected of him this year.
Is it still Khalid Manis?
Khalid Manis, yes.
It's been a year, isn't it? Yeah.
Khalid Manis has been getting better.
He was still bad last year than he was at Minnesota.
He's still bad, but he's getting better. I have a feeling that Khalid Manis may end up proving me wrong in the end, but they're playing Ohio. Ohio obviously have lost a lot in their off-season, so... But reigning MAC champions now, Ohio? The Bobcats? Yeah. So, I mean, we sniff upset there, potentially. Rutgers against Ohio. So this is an interesting slate this evening, but we'll see what goes on with those. Tomorrow, Friday's slate is actually pretty big. There's a lot of football on tomorrow. Noticeably, UCF kicked their season off against Jacksonville State, so you'll be keeping a close eye on that one. It's the Delaware Derby. I say Derby, it's Derby. I'm not saying Derby, I'm American now. But obviously, which one's at Delaware State now? Deshaun Jackson, his head coaching career kicks off with a rivalry game, which is always going to be fun. Oklahoma State at home to UT Martin. As bad as they were last year, I don't think...
Because Cowboys have been rotten.
Are UT Martin good enough to beat them?
Are they the Skybirds or something?
The Skybirds, yeah.
No, I don't think they're very good.
No. The one to...
Grundy's under a lot of pressure this year.
The one
I know they like him, but after 20 years, at some point, it's time to shit off the pot.
Yeah, absolutely. The game to watch tomorrow, Friday night, is definitely Minnesota at home to Buffalo. Buffalo are expected to go after the MAC this year. And Minnesota, we bigged up that Minnesota team the other week in team previews. But honestly, watch Buffalo. Watch out for Kobe Stewart at edge for them. He's got the potential to be one of the most destructive edge players in the entirety of college football this year. And Minnesota are blooding in 2 new tackles this year. So I'd expect some good things of him. And that Minnesota team is full of talent. The Buffalo team is full of talent. That could low-key be a game of the week option there. So watch out for Minnesota Buffalo tomorrow. Obviously Cincinnati Nebraska's tomorrow. Army start their season tomorrow. They're playing Tarleton State. Now, I'm not saying this to get under Brent's skin. Tarleton State are fancied as an upset candidate. Just as a candidate. Out of all the FCS teams out there, people believe, and because it's a service team and you can get under their skin and get at them, but they are on the road, so I would be shocked if Tarleton did beat Army. But there is an upset alert that has been flagged there. As to the main Saturday slate, in terms of the other ranked teams we've not mentioned, most of these are, gimmies. Penn State are at home to Nevada, Georgia at home to Marshall, Oregon at home to Montana State, although Oregon nearly did lose to the Grizz last year, right? At the start of the year.
Yeah.
They nearly lost to the Grizz at the start of last year, so keep an eye closely on that one. Illinois, number 12, are at home to Western Illinois. Oklahoma are at home to Illinois State. Indiana at home to Old Dominion. Iowa State play South Dakota. Tennessee are at home to Syracuse.
I've seen that as an upset slate. People are back in Syracuse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, yes and no, because I want Joey Aguiar to do well this year. I don't sniff any upsets anywhere else, but I'm not seeing anything major there. Like if Nevada, Nevada knock over Penn State, that would be funny. But no, I'm not sniffing any others. There are you in terms of upsets?
No, there's no major gaps between them.
No, I don't see. In terms of other games, potentially, again, it's just a lot of FCS versus Group of 5 stuff at this moment in time. Nothing really stands out. Navy start off their season against the Virginia Military Institute. That's an all-armed forces affair. Pittsburgh start off their season at home to Duquesne. Not expecting much from that. Ooh, actually, I was going to consider putting this in, Rye. Kentucky at home to Toledo. Would we be out there by saying that Toledo could possibly be favourites for that game?
I mean,
you're certainly putting upset alert on it. If not,
definitely are, yeah, because you're getting Zach Calzada, like I say, and totally unknown entity in year 6 after the FCS, and then you've got one of the best offenses in the G5. Like I say, coming off a title game, so Toledo are going to cause them a lot of problems.
Absolutely, they are. I think the rest is maybe we'll talk about some of these as upsets, but nothing jumps out on the page there. The Sunday slate is the good one, which I guess is technically Saturday night for you guys over there, but for us it's Sunday. So you got the LSU Clemson game there. Arizona State start off against Northern Arizona. Assuming
for a couple of years, that's a repeating fixture now.
Yeah, assuming you're not expecting anything untowards from that.
Well, I mean, before that sandstorm, it was like 2020.
Yeah,
they gave Arizona State a lot of problems in Sam Levitt's first year.
Exactly. Other ones, so South Carolina at home to Virginia Tech. I'm covering South Carolina this year, so for the love of God, I hope they win that. Michigan playing New Mexico at home. Obviously, Bryce Underwood starting for Michigan. The youngest starting quarterback in Michigan history. I think he's going to be 18 years old and 111 days or something like that. But a little stat out there for the Michigan fans. The youngest starting quarterback in Michigan history. Obviously, New Mexico were really good last year. Scottrey Humphrey's there this year. We've got to keep an eye out for him. The former Montana running back went absolutely nuts last year, but not expecting an upset there. Florida start against Long Island. SMU against East Texas A&M. Kansas State play North Dakota. North Dakota, like Kansas State licking their wounds. The non-state North Dakota.
They're not bad. Yeah, they're, like you say, I don't mind them. They're pretty good, and their offense, they had one of the better quarterbacks in the country. So yeah, could be an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll see that. Texas.
We've not mentioned, like say, ECU, NC State.
Why? Hang on. Why are we doing this? Why?
It's a big rivalry that I've seen online.
We've not played them since 2011.
I like the Pirates. I think that's a potential upset. I'm just calling that now.
Okay, so Ryan's ending the show today by upsetting me. Well, you're going to be wrong.
I think it's going to be I think that'll be a good game, offensively.
I remember when, I think it was 2 years ago because obviously I was in my KJ phase with Arkansas. East Carolina ran Arkansas close a couple of times. They were bloody good. Like, they really struggled to put them away. So, no, my NC State are going to do well. Let's not have any of this. Hollywood Smothers, remember the name. He's going to have 200 yards this weekend. Texas Tech play Arkansas Pine Bluff. That would be the most hilarious loss of all time if that star-studded team couldn't win that. Nothing else really. Nichols, they're away at Troy. Yeah, that win over on Carnot Ward. Maybe, yeah. Troy are in no man's land at this moment in time.
Offensively, not good.
No, exactly. Maybe look for Nichols on the upset alert this week. My CUSA winners UTEP start away at Utah State, so hopefully they do well there. Not seeing much else. Abilene Christian minus Maverick McIver now, so no. Hawaii are away at Arizona. What do we make of the Rainbow Warriors this week? That does feel like a step too far, but I feel like I want to see Arizona, a competitive performance.
Last year were bad. Titara McMillan's gone. Krosky Merritt's gone. Fafita really wasn't good last year. I think Hawaii should expect to play them and be competitive.
I do. I would want them to be competitive. If this is like a 30-point loss, if this is a 30-point loss, I would be concerned. So hopefully Hawaii are on that list this year.
Tacario Davis is gone. Yeah. Arizona have lost all their talent.
Maybe.
They're licking their wounds. I think Hawaii will look at them and think possibly.
Super upset alert. And Aliardo is meant to be fit this week. I think they're resting him all, but he says he's going to play in this one. So I would see. I would say if he's not 100%, maybe don't do it. But he seems like the kid. He wants to play, so we'll see. But yeah, best of luck to Hawaii against Arizona. Yeah, I think that is about it. And then obviously you got Notre Dame, Miami on the Monday, and then TCU, North Carolina on the Monday, and that is just about everything from us today. Are there any other things we've missed? Anything else you want to mention before we end this one?
I don't want to talk about the notification we've just got of the huge breaking news in the NFL because it's turned my stomach.
Oh, right.
Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And they've handed him a 4-year, $47 million 4-year deal. So now we're going to pay Aiden like $45 million a year, and we're going to have to play Micah Parsons in 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
Well, I did not want to see him come to NFC North.
What have they given up for him?
They haven't said yet.
Okay, this is no longer a college football podcast. That part is over. This is a what the hell are Green Bay doing? Why can they get Micah Parsons and we can't? Why?
I haven't seen the capital, but I think the offer they made previously was 2 first-round picks.
Oh. Oh, God. Right. Okay. That's just ending the show with a sour note. Frank goes, thanks, guys. Yeah, we appreciate all of you who've tuned in for the college football podcast again. So, in terms of next shows, the main podcast is going to be back on Monday with our season predictions, which we might have to alter now. College football podcast, we will be back next week recapping all the action from week 1 and looking ahead to week 2. You know, it's fine as Rural Lines UK, all that sort of stuff. Maybe let's just do a minute or two here on Parsons before we get out of here. Jesus. Oh my God. They've got Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons.
Yeah, so that's an admission they're giving up on Luca Van Ness.
Yeah.
Already.
Well, Van Ness is like a 3 or a 4 now. Like,
yeah,
that's still good depth.
4 years, 150 million, 138 guaranteed, for 47 a year.
So that's the highest non-paid QB.
Highest non-played defensive player in the league now. So yeah.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, mile marker. He goes, always love the to and fro.
Reset the market again.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be a bit more organised. I've been completely unorganised with work this week. You might have been able to tell by the quality of the show today that I've been having to do it on the fly. So we appreciate you all, as always.
Andre Carter. Do you remember
Army?
Andre Carter, he's joined the Lions practice squad. The former
Oh, there you go, Brent.
Some 6'7" defensive end. He's now a Lion.
Some good news for Brent to end the dream. We all remember him. So yeah, former Army linebacker Andre Carter, now with the Lions. Oh, if he recreates that 2021 season, that man was unstoppable.
Yeah, didn't he have like 11 sacks or something?
Oh, he was one of the best defensive players in college football that year.
Sacks, didn't
he? Yeah. Oh God, it's all happening just before we try and go off the air here. At least 2 first-rounders to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons. Oh, they're going to be so insufferable. Oh, no.
They could have at least waited till they played us to do that, and then I won't care.
They could have waited until we'd gone off air, so like I didn't have to react to this live, but good Lord. Yeah. So how are we feeling going to Lambeau next week now? Oh, he's going up against Penny though. If there's anyone I trust in the NFL against Bicker, like he did dick against us last year. Like he did absolutely nothing. The trouble is we're there to be shot at, and the Packers, this is going to be a massive shot in the arm for them, but we're still going to kick their ass. I'm going to have to put something on there. It's not too bad, Lisa. I mean, at the end of the day, Lisa, the Packers are mortgaging their future now. They are going all in on this team, and this is a team that we...
Highest ever non-QB deal. They've just thrown crazy money at him.
Yeah, they're going all in on this. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers. That's what's happened. He's in the NFC North now. They've given him the highest contract in history for a non-quarterback, $47 million a year. You say it was a 3-year contract? 4-year contract at $47 million. And with $140 million guaranteed. So that's what? 140 of 160 million guaranteed?
Yep.
Oh, dear. So yeah, the Packers have got Micah Parsons. The Lions have got Andre Carter, the former edge from Army, who's been... Did he play in the league last year? I feel like he didn't, but I could be wrong.
He's been on practice squads and teams in recent years. I think he's got like 1 NFL sack.
Yeah. Yeah, holy smokes, Marmarker. That's what we're thinking as well. We thought it was a joke when Green Bay were... Wait, Lisa knows the assignment. She's gone, let's hope it's a Trey Flowers deal for Green Bay. Lisa knows. Get the Trey Flowers jibes in there. Matt cannot escape those no matter how hard he tries. Brent goes Super Bowl or bust for sure for the Cheeseheads. Yeah, they're all in now. They are. If they don't win this year, that team's screwed for the future because they've just given away so much.
And a player. So who's going the other way? It feels like Lucas Van Ness.
3 first-round picks.
So it could be it's two first-round picks minimum and a player. But if that's Lucas Van Ness, that's 3 first-round picks they're sending.
Ooh.
It feels like a Van Ness will be a candidate to go the other way.
Oh, who's the
or
player?
Quay Walker.
Let's have a guess. Who's the? Usually it's someone on an expiring deal who they're on there. So it could be Lucas Van Ness, could be Key Walker. Hell, could they give him Christian Watson?
Oh yeah, they could do a receiver.
They could do a receiver. I know he's been hurt, but if they want an upside wide receiver, because Packers have obviously given up on him. Ooh. Wow, this has just kind of burst the bubble a bit to end. Like, yeah, this is... We'll wait for a minute, see if it comes out. If not, we're going to get out of here. If you've got any questions you want to ask us quickly while we're here, please do so. But I do need to go and get some food. Pick watch is done. No, I want saves for that, please. There we go. Did it. Oh, I can just imagine Tom Grossi's reaction now. He's going to be running all around his bedroom just going absolutely nuts. Oh, you know, you imagine the argument this is going to ignite now amongst Lions fans. Just like, oh yeah, they can trade for it. Obviously, Packers don't have the core we have to pay. Kenny Clark! Oh my God, they've sent them Kenny Clark!
A star defensive tackle.
Yes! See you, Kenny!
On one hand, and you're taking away the other. Like, he's been their whole defensive front for years.
He's their only good defensive tackle.
Oh, I'm so glad to see the back of Kenny Clark.
Okay, right. That's your game plan there for the Lions. Just run the ball down their throat all day and don't let Micah Parsons rush the passer. That is unreal. They've let Kenny Clark go. Kenny Clark is basically a first-round pick. I know he's not, but the value for that team, that is a stupendous trade for Dallas. I know losing Parsons is massive, but you've got 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years. You're probably not going to be great this year.
They just gave a Digizua, the Cowboys, a massive contract at DT, and now they, like I said, now they've brought in Kenny Clark. That's kind of weird. That.
I mean, you know, that's still replacing. I know Kenny Clark's older, but wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so glad to see Kenny Clark gone out the league. I love Kenny Clark. Like, when Aleem McNeil came into this league, I was like, that's going to be our Kenny Clark. That's how much I love it. I want a Kenny Clark on my team. That's how much I love him. So, that is... Wow. So, yeah. Green Bay Packers trade for Micah Parsons, and they give up 2 first-round picks, Kenny Clark, the nose tackle, and the richest contract in history to a non-quarterback over 4 years. He's averaging $47 million a year. This is a big gamble from Green Bay. That could blow up in their face. Oh, I'm so happy. Could you imagine of having to face Parsons, Clark, and Rashawn Gary? That would have been a nightmare. Now I feel a lot better. Yep, Lisa, that is what the thing is. Kenny was Ragnar's hardest opponent. He said, I like hearing that. Yeah, he was. Love Kenny Clark for years. He is the standard bearer of what a true nose tackle is in this league. He is such a great player. And I'm so glad he's going to the Cowboys. Right. I think we're going to end it there because Ryan needs to get to work in the morning. I need some sleep. Lisa, Brent, obviously your reviews for your teams will be coming tomorrow. I will put the Georgia-Michigan previews up tomorrow. I've just not had time to do them for today because I've been so crazy at work. So keep an eye out for them. I'll ping you on YouTube when they are up. But apart from that, next time you will see us will be Monday for our season prediction show, which, might take a bit of a turn now. We will see. But thank you, everyone, for joining this evening for the College Football Pod. Talk Week 0. Going to look ahead to Week 1, and we'll see you for next week. We'll do it all again. Thanks ever so much. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, fuck the Packers. Au revoir.